officials that guide us, and our own board that oversees our operations. We are funded in a couple different ways, primarily through our state conservation commission. They have about a third of our budget, and they're down in Olympia. They advocate for conservation districts statewide. Island County does have a rates and charge for parcels, and it's changed over the years. It was an assessment, but in the past year they've changed it so that parcels have different rates based on the frequency and use of the services. And my manager Matt would be happy to expand on that, or I could if you want to do that later. And then we also have grants that we seek out constantly. So a large percentage is also grant funded and through donations. Oh, and we are audited every year, and we have glowing remarks from the state audit. So yeah, I mentioned, who are we? So here are some pictures of us. So I was actually the outreach coordinator for the past 3 years and recently transitioned into more of a technical planning role. And Shannon, there is our outreach coordinator now. Gwendolyn, who's crouched down there with the ferns, is my colleague in the technical realm as a natural resource planner too. And then we have Matt, our district manager, Sandy, who's our office administrator, and Tom over there on the right, who is a shared engineer and helps with engineering work. He's actually based in Skagit, over in Mount Vernon, but he's shared amongst San Juan, Skagit, and Whidbey Island Conservation District. And so I have the board up above because they are elected and appointed, much like your fire commissioners, your county commissioners and stuff. So Sarah Richards, Tim, and now Gary Ketchison are our 3 elected board members, and we have 2 actually appointed positions that were filled or just vacated because their terms were up, 3-year terms. And so I have a question mark for one, because that position we should know by the end of this month who our state commission appointed. You can apply, anyone can apply. And then I have a little, if you're interested, we do have the second appointed position that is available to be applied for, and those appointed ones have a whole different process than an election, but it's really cool serving on the board. These are folks who help to listen to the public and guide our work. Essentially, you get to tell us what to do. And not to bore you with charts, what really I want you to take away from this is, we have a budget of around $525,000. That's the biggest we've ever had. And where you can see up in the upper left, the revenues, like I said, a third is from our state, about a third from Island County rates and charges, and then a smattering of grants and some interlocals, other grants from districts nearby, and our plant sale revenues as well, that keeps growing. But the key is that you can see down, like, where is that money going? A huge percentage is essentially just to fund us staff to help you. So it's literally a bypass for us helping you as landowners and residents. And how do we determine the work as a district that we do? Essentially, it's guided by you, by the public. We're a government organization, and so when I was outreach coordinator, I made a huge effort to really engage members in the community as best as I could, many different avenues. But essentially, our work is kind of following those top 4 natural resource priorities that the public, through our work planning process, shared with us. So we have both a 1-year annual plan that guides our work, that shows what we do, and that's all available on the work plans website link that I have there. But we also have a 5-year long range plan. I'm sure you all at Windermere probably have a similar type thing where you have your day-to-day and then your long-term vision as an organization. So we have that too every 5 years, and our next one will be in 2021 when we start that process. But the public essentially has shared with us through these processes that they'd like us to focus on projects and assistance to folks that focus on water quality and quantity, and that's very nebulous and can fit into a lot of different facets of home building and living on your land. Soil health is a big one. making sure to support agriculture and working forests, so the economic and environmental sustainability, supporting those folks, and also on our shoreline resources and folks who live near the shoreline. And then there's some other ones there interspersed. And so the five kind of, if you were to look at us and think about like at a restaurant, like what you're going to order, um, think of these five areas as your kind of entrees to choose from. So if you were to like think about if you had a client or you yourself were interested in taking advantage of one of these program areas, these are the kind of five core areas where our expertise lie. It doesn't mean that's the only thing. We can definitely find access to others for you, but these are where our expertise really lie, which is farm and agriculture. I have a farming background, and we help livestock owners, horse owners, a lot of horse folks move into the island, interested in learning how to manage their properties for their horses' health, for manure and stuff like that. Maybe growing row crops, things like that. I help, I'm the forest planner, so we offer forest planning. What that means, I know I've worked with several of you actually on clients who are buying properties that are in the county assessor's designated forest land program. And they have to sign a notice of continuance with Mary Engel, and they have to update a forest plan or create one. So we can help with it. That's what I do. I actually, I've been trying to nurture that relationship with Nicole Wheat and Mary Engel to have folks come to me, because oftentimes I'm probably one of the folks who wrote the plan for the previous landowner. I just had that happen recently, and that was a success. We had the former landowner who worked with me, and one of your agents came and talked with me, and I got the buyer to work I coached the buyer essentially to update their plan with me advising them, and we got them in time for closing. So that's a big key service of forest planning that we do, but we also do general kind of informational stuff as well. The other three, Firewise is a big one. A lot of folks, when they're buying houses and stuff, they wonder like, oh gosh, with the California fires and BC fires, how's my house? Like how would it withstand a wildfire? We work with the fire districts and the DNR firefighters to actually do Firewise assessments on properties. It's all voluntary, of course. So we're not there to like tisk, but more like provide them with some ideas of ways they can reduce their risk or things they're already doing well. So Firewise and wildfire preparedness is a big piece that we focus on. And then the last two, the backyards and habitat. Native plants are kind of the gateway drug to conservation, kind of like backyard chickens are to farming. And so our native plant sale is a big outreach event that we do, but we also do actual consultations with like landscaping and incorporation of native plants into your properties. And a lot of folks love to take advantage of that for, aesthetics and pollinators and wildlife and what have you. So we do offer that to folks. And lastly, our water resources. So we get a lot of folks with drainage questions. I have water flooding, or my bluff is sloughing, or these kinds of questions that we can help advise and provide suggestions to. So our water resource management is kind of what we talk about. Rain gardens too. So if you have a builder or somebody you're working with who has a rain garden they got to install, we can help kind of advise around siting it and sizing it and things like that. And then I just wanted to share a little bit about not just our technical menu, but our outreach as well and education. So, like training you all and sharing with you our resources. We're out in the community, and oftentimes we're just not really known because we're so integrated in, like you all are. So we're at, we were at maybe Earth Day with our booth. We have our plant sale. We have a group called the Growers Association. I know like Anita Johnson is really great about like tying in like young farmers and properties that get bought up by new farmers to tie in with my growers group. And this is a group of farmers that is now meeting on Zoom every month, but we used to meet over potluck food, and we talk about different topics of importance to farming. like composting, and we have one coming up on vegetable disease management and stuff like that. And we also do an orca recovery day every year. It's a fun like planting day where we have a couple different sites where we do restoration work. So lots of good stuff there. And then we're just out everywhere. I mean, I was teaching in schools and working with farmers on their land to do workshops. Like we went to Bruce Ekholm's property. I don't know if you know of Bruce. He's got an amazing honey business off Silsfer Road. And he hosted this workshop where we had the landowners come and learn what he does, and also learn about like how he incorporates conservation work on his property and how they can. So we do a lot of those as well. Oh, and publications too. So we're every month we're in the Whidbey Weekly with our Make a Difference column. I've got one coming out next Thursday about fire preparedness that folks might be interested in reading about, kind of highlighting a local landowner story, and kind of translating that with some tips they can incorporate. We have our newsletter that comes out every quarter. Our weed bulletin, folks love to know about noxious weeds, so we help partner with Seth Luganbell at the county noxious weed program to publicize that. And then of course our website has a full host of stuff. In my outreach time, I did a lot of pooling of those resources, so you didn't have to go a million different directions to find them. And I'll just skip over here because I forgot that I had them zoomed in. Just some cool, fun pictures there. And so just to, in closing, I mean, that's the short and sweet about us. But just a couple of thoughts. So if you're in a position yourself that you'd want to take advantage or learn more about the Conservation District with your own properties, whether you've got an apartment in town or acreage out in the county, then I would encourage you to first start by perusing the website just to get a little bit of a better feel. We also have social media accounts on Instagram and on Facebook. Our Instagram account's really fun because unlike just like tooting our own horn, it's actually about just native plants and encouraging folks to, in real time, like get out there and see what's out in nature right now. And some is native and some is, sometimes she'll incorporate wildlife and other things. Shannon does that. But yeah, you can pop us an email. I have the general email up there, the WICD, but you can also pop me an email. It's Kelsi, KELSI, @whidbeycd.org. We have an online request for assistance, but of course you can always phone in or call us. Very accessible, even in COVID times. But so if you want to take advantage of that yourself, I encourage you to check out the website, check us out on social media. Pop me a note. I can definitely chat with you a little more in depth beyond today. And then if your clients, as you meet new folks, especially folks who are new to the island, we get a lot of folks who are new to the island coming to us who are just like, I don't know where to begin with managing my land. Like I just bought this property or I bought this house on land. And I want to figure out what I want to do. Like, can you walk me through some ideas so we can help guide them in some goal setting, and help kind of be the advocate in that manner. So keep us in mind if you've got folks who would be interested.
Have you ever have you ever partnered with an individual broker or a brokerage to put on a kind of a property owner on Whidbey Island workshop where you would actually kind of get your hands dirty with people who own property and may want to do something with it, like actually do a walk around and identify what some of the noxious weeds are and talk about why they're not, very helpful and why you want to get rid of them, or things you could do to almost said shore up your shoreline, like, help stabilize, preserve your
shoreline. I like it.
Yeah, but you guys have a lot of really deep knowledge about a lot of topics that that are just best shared out there where you can physically look at a property. And I could see one of our agents, or maybe a group of agents that wanted to get together, work with you to advertise it, to get, people to come, to get a landowner, maybe one of their clients, to
Yeah.
be the host of the field trip, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, we are open to that for sure. And we've done like the hands-on workshops were a big thing. When I was outreach coordinator, we would I always would partner with folks, and I would love to partner with you all, with a brokerage.
Mhm.
Definitely identifying what would be of most importance to you all would be probably of help to us, because then we could really maybe focus in on, what aspects do your clients ask the most questions about, and then we can really find the right place to host.
Well, I'd
um,
like to actually use a couple minutes right here to
sure.
brainstorm that, because I know you threw out um, you had worked with oh shoot, who was it that you just said recently? It was right at the beginning. What you had gone out to the property and helped one of our.
Oh, Ekholm.
It wasn't Bruce. It was early on. You said you worked with it. Was it one of our agents or another agent and their client?
Dan, I worked with Dan. Yeah. And yeah, well, so the forest plan, you mean?
Yeah, I think it was that, and you'd already written up a
Yeah.
forest plan. That's right. So
Yeah. Yeah.
forest
So
plans is something concrete that people could go to the conservation district for their clients. So like if you've got
yeah,
clients needing that, give us some other really
other
specific
examples.
examples of
Yeah.
where an agent has connected you with their client and why.
Okay. Um, so give me a second to think about that.
So I do know, like, if someone's looking at, or they just have bought a relatively rough piece of property, maybe, like, and they're trying to figure out, how do we go about
Yeah.
kind of getting this property back to health? So maybe you've got
Yeah.
scraggly trees on there, and
Yeah.
tons of noxious
Yeah.
weeds, and maybe there's
Yeah.
some bluff stability issues,
Yeah.
and they want to do it cheap, but they want to do it right. You guys would be the
That,
ones to
yeah, and
call.
that's exactly it, because the fact that, so I don't know if I at any point mentioned, but we are an absolutely free service. So it is available to you for free.
We've got these
So
big brains and all their
yeah,
resources for
ready to help.
free.
So, and the one-on-one is, I think, of biggest benefit, because I know as a planner and as somebody who's been doing this for a long time, I'm going to hopefully be able to go out and visit your property, hopefully, come July, safely, um, and give you actual specific recommendations based on what I'm seeing and based on the
Mhm.
knowledge I have. And I can speak for my colleagues in that manner as well. So, yeah, tangible takeaways from our services, like Kristen mentioned, the forest plan assistance is a big one I see coming through the doors. I've had a lot of uptick in those. And that, you might ask why we're doing that when there's like private folks who do it as well. There's just like such a surplus of these plans and not enough like quick movement. And I know our district wants to keep working forests as working forests. So that helps us achieve our mission by facilitating that. The same goes with properties who, maybe a landowner just bought a bunch of, a property with like a wetland on it.
Mhm.
And they have to mitigate some stuff around the wetland. Gwendolyn is a wetlands specialist. That's her background. And so she's got a working knowledge of some possibilities there. We may not be able to do the full gamut, right? Because we're kind of balancing, trying not to compete with certain areas of the private sector as well.
But you
But we
guys
can
also have, I mean, I know you're not supposed to really say it, but we've benefited from your knowledge. I'm saying, yeah, but who should we call? Kelsey, like,
I
and
can't I can't recommend, but I what I can
I mean,
do
yeah,
though,
they
as
don't
a
recommend
government
at all.
employee, I know a lot of people
Yes.
in the field. And so and a lot of actually like conservation district work in general is based on this landowner and planner relationship. And so what I learned from other landowners, I can then immediately share with other landowners, and I can share with you and help your landowners. Like I can do that. I
Mhm.
don't I'm not breaking any rules by
Right.
sharing what I learn, and
Totally.
it's definitely a lot. So Yeah.
If there's
And
any specialists out there that are needed, you kind of got your finger on the
yeah,
pulse of who's
like
doing
I'm
what.
not going to be somebody who's going to go and be a forest pathologist and identify like disease trees other than some general rules of thumb. And I might point something out if I see it that's,
Mm.
you know, concerning,
But you know who
but
to call.
yeah, I know a number of people they can call.
Perfect.
And same with
Another,
bluff stuff too, and
besides
farm stuff.
forests, I've noticed that you've been incredibly helpful when you combine animals and rain. So we've had you guys out for mud management issues. We've had you
Right.
out for
Yeah.
property flooding
Yeah.
issues. Those are two other themes. You mentioned wetlands. If someone's looking at a property with wetlands and really trying to figure out what they can do around that. And remember, you guys, they pride themselves on, if you've got a landowner who's like, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'm not a big greenie. I want to be able to do this thing. They're not going to go tattle on you at the county. They're like, the conservation district is going to
So
hear what you have to say, what you want to do. They're going to tell you the facts. They're going to tell you about the resources, help you out with what you want to do, as long as it's within the right parameters. And then that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I mean, the whole reason why we're in existence is because we've developed relationships built on trust. And a lot of our clients are actually much more like, at first we're very weary of government clients that have formed really great relationships with us, because we're there to essentially listen as to what your goals are and help to pinpoint good financial and technical and educational resources and contacts for your benefit in helping you actualize those goals, whether they're a bluff or a farm or forest or a residential lot in town. You know, it's just, we're the people that can be kind of by your side and help you through all that. And you can know comfortingly that we're not going to recommend something that's going to go against a code or against a rule. Like, we're supposed to know those things. We pride ourselves in that
But they're
a
not there
lot.
to enforce it either, which is nice.
No.
It's a nice like
Yeah.
kind of combo.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, I know. Does
I
anybody
feel
have
for my county people.
any specific questions for Kelsi, or has anybody had the experience of being able to use the conservation district that they would want other people to, other brokers in our brokerage that are on here to hear?
Yeah.
Go ahead and mute yourself if you've got one. Nope, nada. All right, we're a quiet group today.
That's all right. I just want you all to be aware of it. And I know many of you I've since connected with, and I'm happy to, follow up with if questions do come to mind for you. It's just one of those things. We still, as much as we've done the outreach, at least in my time here, we've only relatively, even though we've been around 67, I think it's been under our former manager, Karen Bishop's rule. She retired last February, and now Matt's taking over, and he's great too. But it was under her time here that really like catapulted us more. We used to just be this little office adjacent to county buildings, it's a law firm now, by Whidbey Island Bank, and now we just like hopped over the Whidbey Island Bank to this one. But now we're much more better known, but I still feel like we could be even better known. I just want to make sure folks know that there's support, because I bought 4 acres, and the knowledge that I've learned has really helped me. And I know like it's overwhelming when you have new properties, where to begin. So we can help kind of narrow that focus, and help kind of advocate for that, help people organize their thoughts.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Kelsi.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining me.
And you guys, just even like if you even have the tiniest question, they're so easy to get a hold of, and they'll point you in the right direction, just about anything.
Email is just replace that WICD with Kelsi.
At
So
WIC.org.
And right now that's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me and with any of us, just because for right now I'm at the office, but we're working from home until we're told otherwise, as I'm sure you guys are too. So yeah, just pop me a note. Any questions come up, anything at all? If I don't know, I'll find the answer to it. So
Awesome. Okay. Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you. Oh, and just for people who are kind of trying to add to their resources on their websites or to their buyers' resources, they do have a ton of like downloadables on their
Yes.
website.
Yeah, if you wanted to, I can just briefly like pull up that our webpage right now. Here's our home screen, whidbcd.org. If you go up to the Our Services tab, you'll see that just like in my presentation, it's organized by those program areas where our services lie. And like I said, if it doesn't quite fall under any of these or you're not sure, maybe pop me a note when you're questioning that and I can kind of help funnel you in the right place. But yeah, the farm and ag, this ag community is more about like that Whidbey Island growers group that I told you we gather every month. So definitely younger or like any new farmer client that you have or somebody who's bought acreage and wants to start a farm or, things like that. Definitely dial them in with me and I can dial them in with our growers group in the ag community. So yeah, if you click on like one of these, let's say the
Actually, can I
oh
take over? I want to show,
yeah,
and maybe you can
please.
walk us through this really
Yeah,
fast.
you're gonna stop sharing, by the way,
Yeah,
Kristen.
you stop sharing. I'll share mine, and it's your document that I want to show them, and I
Oh,
can't
sure.
remember what screen I got to.
Yeah.
Just so they can see. This is one of my favorite resources that you guys have, and actually, this is a great
Oh
resource for
yeah.
you to just check your
Yeah.
to educate yourself as an agent about topics that come up um, with people who are looking at land or have
Yes.
questions about septic systems.
Yeah. The
Um,
tip side is great.
yeah, I really do love these little question
Mm-hmm.
pieces you have on each topic.
Yes.
One of them is, we're always hearing about from our septic as builts, and when you really start to get to like read the perk tests and it's
Yeah.
talking about different soil types,
Oh yeah. Type
I
3,
think
type 4. Yeah.
I think a lot of us kind of like we've never even thought of soil and different types, and this is a great one. If great little quiz on erosion, like and how to kind
Oh
of
yeah.
spot that on property. If
Yeah.
there's a stream nearby, kind of help people because there's quite a few, not as many I guess up here, but there's a few little rivulets that I would
Yeah.
would be considered streams
Well,
on
and like I
Whidbey.
was mentioning, like, wetlands and streams, like, we all the time access a lot of these databases that our county has, and I'm sure you all do that too, but um, our state databases, like, things around like, is there important wildlife habitat the state is designating nearby. I'm just speaking from experience having built my house last year as a landowner, like there were a lot of things that came up that, man, if I had known that from my work here, and to let others who don't work here know that I can help them, it's really great to have.
You know,
So yeah,
most
great.
agents are talking about the latest listing and photography, but I really think there's a huge benefit to connecting with people when you become more of an expert in as a real estate agent, especially a Windermere one, about the minutia of living on our island. These like this one document from Whidbey Conservation District could fuel a whole, like it could fuel weekly posts on these different topics
Sure.
um, to help demonstrate that you really know about living on the land here on Whidbey. So
Yeah,
and the conservation districts wants you to steal from this. Like, obviously
please.
it would be nice to tag them in it.
That'd be
But
nice. Feel free.
yeah, exactly. But this is it's just so rich and
Well, I mean, everything from like, from a raw land, if you're selling raw land, or if you're helping folks buy raw land, knowing things like access, water, septic, soils, logs, and things like that. I mean, all these land use type things is really good. And that's what, these resources are framed around. It's kind of taking it that step further and being able, like Kristen said, to know what is a type 3 soil. Man, I could geek out with you on our soils database and we can look at what type 3 actually means, right? And like we can like you can just buzz that off to people and wow them.
We love getting geeky. Yes.
Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, like, and then same with like homes, right? Like where downspouts, all of a sudden somebody's showing, a house and there's like water pooling in the winter, and like, what the heck, being able to like kind of troubleshoot that already, knowing like there's some key things to think about and know already. And I've seen a lot of homeowners get really empowered from just some patterning recognition that like we share, or we teach others to share, because it's not rocket science.
No, it's just exposure,
It's
really.
not this citadel.
So I must have gotten this from the, let's see, Farm and Ag Assistance page. And then I did a drop down here, you guys. There's
Yeah.
housekeeping resources. So this is where this is.
Yeah, and so you can
all
see
of
here,
these are PDFs.
all of the pages are organized in this exact same way. So you'll have the program page, and then you'll have this little, for lack of a better word, accordion drop down. And each drop down based on that topic, there's linkable, that one's a slightly different one, but yeah, linkable documents or pertinent organization. This one talks about property in, designated forest land or in the open space agriculture tax program, and the folks there that folks need to be aware of. So yeah.
I love it. Very cool. Okay. Any other questions or comments from anyone? We're hitting the 45-minute mark. Okay, great.
Cool.
So thank you, Kelsi. Now you all know who she is.
If you want to get connected to us, if you scroll down at the bottom, Kristen.
Sorry, I just
closed out. But if you guys do want to get connected, other than through your own just perusing of the website, you can sign up for our newsletter. That tends to be like a pretty good. It's just a 2-page. We're kind of still a little old school. I kind of like it. It's this 2-page, like really graphically pretty PDF that we put together that highlights the kind of pertinent resources that season. But yeah, these are the 3 email lists if you know folks who want to volunteer with us at our plant sale, or if you want to be the first to be able to buy plants. Every year we like sell out so fast.
So yeah, just to be clear, that's you guys are selling native plants for really cheap.
Real cheap.
Like super cheap, like once a year.
And $1.50 a stem kind of thing. So
and this is for people who have like vast amounts of property that they want low maintenance. Or small, but
I mean, we have folks who buy like a few stems, and in like 3 years that plant is just like massive. So it's really cool.
It also could be a really awesome pop by sort of invitation to your clients to say, hey everyone, I'm going to buy, a dozen of my 3 favorite native plants. Call me. First come, first serve clients who I'll drop them off at your house. And it's just a really cheap way to get people knowing that a little bit about you, that you like native plants, and giving them something of value, and then invite them if they have more big, or not even big, like you said, but if they have, like I have a couple planter beds that I could really use some low maintenance native plants in, and I'm looking forward to that sale because I need to fill it up.
Yeah.
You could do the same for your clients.
Yeah. Well, great. I don't want to take more of your guys' time, but thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully I'll meet you in person one of these
Definitely.
days.
We'll have you back. Thank you, Kelsi.
All right. Take care.
Okay, thanks, guys. While you're still here, hang on. I'm going to actually stop recording since there's a good number of you. Well, shucks.
Kate had asked when the sale is. Kate, if you're still around. So we have an online sale that is a pre-order sale starting November 1st. And if you